Welcome to CBR. The Disney Plus series Wonder Man is coming in 2025. But who is Wonder Man?
You can slate whenever you're ready.
Simon Williams, reading for Wonder Man.
Simon Williams will only make his live-action debut now, despite first appearing in Avengers Volume 1, Issue 9 back in 1964. Since then, Wonder Man has had a multitude of adventures that Marvel Studios can rely on for the character's inclusion in the MCU, keeping him around beyond the upcoming miniseries.
This isn't about Zemo. Stark destroyed my life.
Tony Stark has found a way to hold your energy form together.
Simon is the youngest son of Sanford Williams, the founder of Williams Innovations. At only 22, he stepped up to command his father's company when Sanford died, as his older brother Eric chose a life of crime instead. However, with the meteoric rise of Stark Industries under the genius of Tony Stark, Simon followed Eric's advice and turned to embezzlement to keep Williams Innovations afloat. Simon was caught by the board of directors and was meant to go to prison, when Amora, a powerful sorceress from Asgard, bailed him out and took him to Baron Zemo. Since Simon had publicly blamed Tony Stark for his downfall, Zemo decided to manipulate Simon into becoming Wonder Man and infiltrating the Avengers to take down Iron Man, who he believed worked for Tony Stark at the time. Simon agreed to undergo an experiment with ionic rays, emerging from it with superpowers like super strength and invulnerability. But Zemo soon revealed that his new ionic-powered form wasn't stable and required an antidote only Zemo possessed to keep him alive long-term. In fear, Simon took on the Wonder Man name and followed Zemo's orders. Yet after infiltrating the Avengers, Simon changed his mind and decided to sacrifice himself. He was presumed dead, but in fact, his body was only in a state of suspended animation due to his unstable ionic energy. The Avengers later brought him back to life, and he officially joined the team. His ionic energy evolved, granting him additional abilities like flight, energy projection, and objective immortality. Still, Simon struggled with his past choices and being dependent on the Avengers. He decided to move to the West Coast and work as a stuntman in Hollywood to be self-sufficient and occupy his mind. Soon, he developed a successful career as an actor. Despite quitting the superhero life then, Simon stepped back into it and aided the Avengers and other teams numerous times since.
Let's see how you like being on the receiving end of this thing!
Wonder Man's adventures took him across the cosmos, into alternate dimensions, and into battles with some of Marvel's most iconic villains like Kang the Conqueror, Thanos, and his own brother, who became the Grim Reaper. Today, we are examining Wonder Man's powers in Marvel Comics and how Simon Williams became this unique superhero. Original powers. Simon Williams was not born with superpowers. Before being transformed into the Wonder Man, Williams was a regular businessman. In a flashback shown in the 1985 West Coast Avengers Volume 2, Number 2, readers learned that Williams was the heir to Williams Innovations, a company that rivaled Stark Industries. In charge of a sinking company, Williams turned to embezzlement and was arrested. In the 1964 Avengers Number 9 issue, his first appearance, Williams is approached by a supervillain team-up consisting of Baron Zemo, Amora the Enchantress, and Scourge the Executioner. They bail him out of jail and take him to the Amazon jungle, promising they can help Williams get his revenge against Tony Stark, who he blames for his downfall. The idea of using a human like Simon as a vessel for his plot highlights just how malicious Zemo can be. As the evil genius he is, Zemo has the idea of bombarding Williams' body with ionic rays. He has a plan for Wonder Man to infiltrate the Avengers and take them down from within. Following the ionic ray experiment, the Executioner surprises him with a shot to the chest, which he barely feels. During more tests of his abilities, Zemo describes Wonder Man's super strength as unmatched by any Avenger. His bare fist is as powerful as Thor's Uru metal hammer. The ionic rays transformed Williams' entire body, enlarging it and providing superhuman senses, reflexes, and agility. But it's not just the powers provided by the ionic rays that make up Wonder Man's initial set of abilities. The original 1964 suit Zemo created for him also featured miniature rockets built into his belt, which allowed him to fly. However, Wonder Man had a major inherent weakness. Ensuring his creation would remain loyal to the supervillains, Zemo made sure to blast him with so much ionic energy that Wonder Man couldn't survive longer than a week without an ionic antidote only Zemo had. He had to follow their rules if he wanted to survive. Death, Rebirth, and Metamorphosis. In this first appearance, Wonder Man is a puppet for Zemo. Wonder Man fights the Avengers, but eventually realizes they treated him with so much respect that they don't deserve to be betrayed. Then, turning against his creator, Wonder Man defeats the villains alongside the Avengers and tragically dies from the ionic radiation without the antidote. It wasn't until Avengers number 151 in 1976 that Simon Williams was officially resurrected. The supervillain Living Laser uses his powers to manipulate Wonder Man's body, awakening him from stasis. His body was in a comatose state, still regenerating over time. The ionic energy coursing through him had stabilized, making him virtually immortal. His already superhuman strength increased even further. His durability also improved to the point where he became almost indestructible. A new power Wonder Man gained after his rebirth was the ability to harness and manipulate ionic energy. While he was no longer equipped with the rocket-powered belt from his original suit, he developed the ability to fly on his own. He learned to use pure ionic energy, essentially becoming a living energy conduit and propeller. This ionic energy also granted him regenerative healing, allowing him to recover from injuries at an accelerated rate. Wonder Man undergoes a profound metamorphosis after his resurrection, evolving from a powerful yet mortal being into a much more complex, energy-based life form. This transformation is gradual but extremely significant, defining his character development across multiple comic storylines. One of the key turning points in Wonder Man's metamorphosis is revealed in the 1977 issue Avengers number 158 and developed further in West Coast Avengers from 1985. As the ionic energy within Simon stabilizes, he slowly transitions from a human being who interacts with ionic energy to a being composed entirely of it. This change alters not only his appearance and abilities, but his entire biological structure. Simon no longer ages, becoming truly immortal. Entirely sustained by ionic energy, he no longer requires food, sleep, water, or oxygen to survive. The metamorphosis also grants him invulnerability to most attacks. In later storylines, particularly in Wonder Man Volume 2 comics from 1993, his control over his ionic energy grows so advanced that he transcends his physical form. He can alter his size or completely shapeshift. Wonder Man can disperse his energy across distances and reassemble his body at will. The 2018 Avengers comics, particularly number 681, further explored what Wonder Man could do while manipulating ionic energy, instantly materializing energy shields, for example. He also learned he is able to interfere with any other form of electromagnetic energy using his ionic powers. Yet, in contrast to the amazing superpowers he mastered, Simon's resurrection and metamorphosis also brought psychological challenges. He struggled with his return to life and the sense of alienation that came with it. Having died heroically, he returned to find that much time had passed. The Avengers had moved on, and he had no place in the world. This emotional turmoil became a key element in his character arc. The more his body transformed into ionic energy, the more disconnected he felt from the people around him. Simon was plagued by self-doubt and guilt, especially over the way his initial actions led to his death. Despite these inner conflicts, Wonder Man gradually embraced his role as a hero again, using his second chance at life to find redemption and purpose within the Avengers, continually proving himself as a valuable and loyal ally. MCU Wonder Man. Marvel Studios has yet to share any information on what will be Simon Williams' story in the Marvel Cinematic Universe. The Wonder Man series is expected to debut on Disney Plus in 2025 and consist of 10 episodes. Although fans are imagining plot theories focused on Simon Williams' career as a Hollywood actor after his resurrection, that is only speculation at this point. His resurrection and subsequent immortality are such a pillar of the character's psyche that it's difficult to imagine an MCU counterpart that doesn't go through something similar, even in another timeline. With such a slow evolution of his powers in the comics, happening throughout multiple storylines across decades, the 10-episode series can introduce MCU fans to Simon's long and complicated transformation into Wonder Man. Hopefully, Wonder Man will be at his peak form by the end of the show, so he can fight alongside the Avengers against Doctor Doom in the 2026 and 2027 movies. Wonder Man definitely has the potential to be a compelling protagonist in the MCU. Did you know Wonder Man was this strong, to the point of completely transcending his physical form? Do you think the MCU Wonder Man will be equally powerful?
Here are 5 comic book issues you should check out featuring the superhero.
Simon Williams, reading for Wonder Man.
This issue marks Wonder Man's first appearance. The character is introduced as Simon Williams, the head of a tech company that rivals Stark Industries. The Avengers fight Baron Zemo, while the villain is assisted by 2 powerful Asgardians, the Enchantress and the Executioner. Convince Williams to join them in a plan against Iron Man. He is then transformed by Zemo into the superpowered Wonder Man and tasked with infiltrating the Avengers.
Assemble.
After his chaotic encounter with the Avengers, Wonder Man is believed to be dead. But his brother, Eric Williams, the supervillain known as the Grim Reaper, wants to transfer Vision's conscience to Simon's body. While Simon is still in a comatose state in this issue, this is when the character reappears. From this point, his body is reanimated several times until he finally takes his final, most powerful form in the Avengers Annual number 6.
Take it easy, buddy. He's one of us now.
If you only read 3 issues of Wonder Man's first storyline, this one marks the hero's first organic team-up with the Avengers as they fight against the Grim Reaper. The issue wraps up the villain's obsession with how Vision is essentially his brother for being partially made out of Simon. Wonder Man defeats him and befriends the Avengers. Simon Williams is incredibly conflicted, having a hard time adjusting to the superhero life after the Avengers ask him to join. Having an indestructible body since his rebirth, he decides to make a drastic change in his life and move to Hollywood to work as a stunt actor? But when Clint Barton, aka Hawkeye, forms the West Coast Avengers, Simon accepts the invitation. In the Mighty Avengers storyline, Wonder Man is a key team member. In it, Simon still works in Hollywood and Wonder Man's identity is publicly known. He works alongside his former enemy, Tony Stark. How much do you know about Wonder Man ahead of the upcoming show? Let us know in the comments below your thoughts and what you'd like to see in this series. Until next time, thanks for watching CBR.